funerals are, it makes me sound weird, but I actually like doing them. I wouldn't say I enjoy them, but I like doing them because I do like the opportunity to be someone who can speak peace to someone when they're hurting. And it gives me a feeling of fulfillment in myself that I'm playing that role in that moment to make a difference in somebody's life.
So when I'm on the shoot, I'm already editing in my head. I'm piecing it together. And that's why I have a very unique position in this whole world, which is most of the projects I've worked on, it's come out of my head in some way. It's obviously a collaboration, but it's come out of my head in some way. I've been there to capture it, and then I get to take it and edit it. Usually, you're either an actor who gets a script from someone else, who's directed by someone else, who's filmed by someone, and then you have no idea what they're going to pick until you go and watch the movie.
I remember one time I had just taken a class. The American Heart Association had instituted this new thing that you would ice down cardiac patients, and it has something to do with toxins being released after you have that event, lack of oxygen, I guess. We had a very young man come in with young children, and he had a cardiac event, and actually we brought his heart back. And so I said, let's try this. We didn't have the proper equipment, but we had ice. And we did. We iced his head, and it's highly regulated. You have to watch the temperature. You're bringing them into like a hypothermic state.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you bring down their temperature, and it has to be within a narrow window, the temperature. But by that time, they went to the upstairs to the intensive care unit, and they were, monitored. And so the people from the ICU came down and said, that was great. It would probably save this guy's brain.
Wow.
So that's a rewarding experience.
When that 8-year-old walks in the classroom, you don't know what happened at home.
Right.
Well, it takes you about a week until you can see on their face whether or not they were having an argument before with a sibling or a parent before they get there. And my goal is once they walk into the classroom, they see my smiling face when they come in the door. Once they get in the classroom, we decompress, and it's a safe place to be. So, and that's very helpful.
What has kept you kind of tethered to still saying you're a Christian, being a Christian, going to church, and still kind of going down that path?
That's a great question.
Like, what is the connecting piece there?
I think that I've never really been able to totally turn my back on Christianity or religion or whatever you want to call it, because I've seen a lot of instances, cases, scenarios, situations where that belief and that structure has really benefited people. I mean, like my parents, a lot of, mentors when I was early in my life, and then where they might not have been the most successful in terms of like worldly success or whatever, but in general, they're at peace with themselves, they're at peace with the world around them, and it's just been a positive impact.
I 100% think that students perform better in school in general when they feel safe, their emotional needs are met, they feel like they're in a community. At Suncoast Academy, we school-wide do a responsive classroom model, which is based on cooperation, assertion, responsibility, empathy, and self-control, and it spells the word CARES.
Ooh,
and
that's genius.
That is great.
Yeah, and then we actually, this is a fun one. So for our middle school that we just started 2 years ago, they're the bulls, and so their word is charges, and so they added in honesty and gratitude into CARES.
Let me ask you this. So as far as practical advice goes, what would you say to somebody that's interested in making some money or making more money? They're not happy where they're at financially.
If you're going into a job interview and asking yourself how much can I get them to pay me, then you're destined to stay where you're at. But if you can go into that job interview, and when I say job interview, that could be a client for your photography business, it doesn't matter. How can I make them more money than they have to pay me? That's all you have to ask.
Right.
What can I do for you to make you more money than you pay me? If you don't know how you can do that, then there's no real reason for them to keep giving you raises and increase your income.
Sure. No, that's great advice.